awesome. Here's one of the best tomahawks I think I've ever found in my life, actually. Look at that awesome serration. It's just a nice thin piece, nice one. And then I recently found this awesome one right here. Check out how clean this one is. It's all sharp right there. Real strong, hard piece of chert, real dense. Here's one of my favorite darts that I found for this whole video. I believe that's like a paleo triangular dart tip. See, it's got a little notch right there and a notch right there that's just barely cracked out. Hey, how's it going? Just got my last video uploaded, so I'm starting fresh here. And just walking up, I just got a snorkel and some goggles. Gonna do some snorkeling. Maybe not today, I'm just gonna test them out today, but see if I can find some underwater points. It's finally kind of warm enough. But look at this little one I found. We're just walking up. Sharp on both sides. Pretty neat looking. I don't even need to go in the water. Look at this thing right here. Holy crap. Looks like a San Patrice kind of. Dang, that's a good one. That little dart tip, I believe. Man, that's a cool one. Wow. Hey. Okay, that might be something. I don't know. I don't know, babe. We're gonna have to clean it up. Look at the sparkles in there, babe. Do you see that?
His little one is.
Dang, that is for sure something. Wow.
I have a little one.
Hang on. Looks like a little mini tomahawk. Maybe like a half-did side scraper. Out here again today, April 11th. This is the second day recording for this next video I'm working on. But anyways, just came up on this cool one here. Cool little point of some sort. Looks like a little knife maybe. Nice serration. Little divot right there. Possible dart point. Ooh. That's a nice color. That's probably one of my favorite colors to find arrowheads in, is that yellow color. But it also has a little light brown on the bottom. It's real pretty. A little divot thing here. I'm guessing it, I mean, it looks kind of like an archaic knife, but it could be like a dart point. Picked up this cool little graver knife. Look at those vibrant colors. I always see those out here. Just awesome. Check this out, man. Right when I walked up. Looks like a little something. Alright, I'm checking this little wall here since I haven't really checked this thoroughly yet. Just kind of a new spot off the trail here. Look at that. Kind of preformy, huh? Like a big scraper preform. Cool. Oh, might be a little pointed side scraper there. Oh, Something odd about this flint looking piece here. Got my little orange scraper here, and then when I went to pick it up, I noticed this piece here. Ooh, all right. Let's rinse that off real quick. Might be a little preform or something. It's a really nice brown shiny chert there. It's a cool little divot bowl. Be a nice guitar pick holder. Or a little soap holder. I love these diver watches for setting timers. So we're gonna put the timer on the minute hand. Once it gets all the way back around, we'll know it's been an hour. Let's see what we can find in an hour. That's probably not gonna search longer than that today, because I plan on going to the river later today to do some underwater footage. Yeah, standing in the river basin here. That was one of the deepest holes there, so that holds fish still. But without a lot of rain, this river kind of dries up. But when it does rain a lot, it fills up and runs this way. So it hits up against this little bank here. So it's always a good idea to kind of check on, you know, the little crevices like that. But these points, the water will be rushing so hard that it pushes them and it bounces them around, so you can even find them like over here. So it's good to look on like this little area. See all these little like preforms and pieces of chert that were thrown around. Might make a good spot to find a good point, so I'm just gonna walk up and down the whole thing. So I walked across the barrier where it would catch rocks on the river, and I'm just moving up to the next big one. There's a little cliff over there, see? Because I did find a four-cornered knife over here before in the yellow chert. Really nice archaic knife, or paleo knife. So I'm gonna search in a little bit further. I'm already starting to see some good sized chunks of chert that I want to be looking for. It's about the size of the points that I'm gonna be looking for here. It's an interesting piece of chert there. Nice bluish with some pinkish red. Possible preform. Gonna have to clean it up to determine. Two nice looking preforms right here. Is that triangular? What's this? Ooh. Nice. Wow. That's some big kind of knife right there, buddy. Wow. Look at all that flaking all around it. That is a nice, I guess, archaic looking knife. I believe archaic. This is gonna have to be the next spot that I come to, because I barely moved from those two, and look at this one right here. Whoa. What the heck is this? Oh man, that's something nice right there. A little pointed side scraper right there. Wow, that's a pretty one. Heck yeah. Right, look how pretty this one is. That color, that nice red in there. Super smooth on that side. So it's just that orange chert. That vibrant red and blue there. But this is definitely the find of the day for today. Nice and sharp all the way around. Awesome. It's only been, yeah, we got about 15 minutes for an hour. Perfect little pointed side scraper there. Yeah, it's a pretty piece. Wait till I clean it off all the way. I'll get that side clean too with some vinegar. That'd be a nice little useful tool out here for filleting bass and stuff like that. And not too shabby. Found to put all these little flakes and stuff that we found in the bag, and look at this that I saw right here. Look at that shape. Hope that's a full point. Ooh. Dang, that's still a good point even if it's missing stuff. That is cool. Here comes the wind. Look at this point I just came across here. I can see from up there. Woohoo! What the heck? That thing is like clear. And that is gonna clean up nicely. Like that. What do you have? Okay, okay, that might be something. Oh. Possible another bird effigy. I'm gonna clean it up. Actually sitting on the bank over there. We found this little pointed side scraper. Pretty cool looking color. I'll clean it up and see if there's any good serration. Ooh, there's a good one. Whoa. Is that some kind of knife or something? Pointed scraper. That's a good one right there. Wow. Cool. That might be something. Let's see this little thin one. There you go. Oh yeah. Damn, that's a good one. All right. See what I'm talking about? A little rinse off and you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. A little dark flyer. And then, I have no idea, some kind of knife or point. Paleo. Archaic maybe. We're gonna go for a swim in the river. Looking for artifacts. What do you think of this dude's kayak? This dude's kayak, man. It's like, I know I'm cool, man. Was that like the coach or something? Look at those rods, dude. He's like in the redneck from Louisiana or something. Once it heats up, you can get out here and do some good hunting. That's for sure. It's a little too cold today, but I tried. Picking up some neat looking flakes here. All over the place out here. Look at that serration on that end. Looks like a little old-timer knife blade. Yeah, that serration will show up once I clean it up. Nice blue and brown shirt. That's a pretty one. Symmetrical. Very nice. And a little shaft on the back there. It's a real interesting looking piece right there.
Come here, buddy. Come on, let's go this way.
He's exploring the woods. It's crazy. Right after I found that cool scraper, found a smashed bottle of Jack Daniels, so you gotta be careful. But oh, there's glass everywhere. But look at this freaking, looks like another Pandora dark point. This is probably the third one I've ever found in this area. It's a good one right there. Same buildup as the other one's, just a little bit of a skinny curve in the middle there. They say it's not known whether these are knives or dark points in all the research, but yeah, they'd have to do the micro study of the edges to determine, but it looks like pretty blunt trauma to the tip of this one. So I'll be optimistic with it. So yeah, it just started raining. I get to the end of the park here and just been down to pick this. Look how pretty that one is. Nice little ovoid, kind of maybe some type of lancelet, or it's called like some kind of dark point. Freaking cool. That's a really nice one too. Marlin. Hey, how's it going? I'm gonna give you guys a quick run through of everything that I found over the past month or so. I did just get married, so I've been pretty busy lately, but I always spend an hour or two looking for points. So here's pretty much everything. I'll wrap it up really quick so it's not too long, but the main thing I find at this site are paleo San Patrice variants in that sort of shape. I also find pelican, which are pretty much San Patrice, but they have a few different features. I also have been finding Pandoras lately, which are believed to be lancelet spear tips. Those long ones over there. I'll go over real quick. And there's one more. There's a lot that I've been finding out there, but for the most part I find those and triangular points and Lagita types, ones that look kind of like that, and a few like random ones, but I won't spend too much time on that today. So here's the craziest point that I found in this whole video. It's got that crazy flute. I believe this is a Clovis type of point, some type of paleo point. And I'll talk about categories, like I'll go axes, knives, then points. But before I do all that, I want to talk about San Patrice real quick. This is the first San Patrice that I found out there. Real sharp on the front there. Nice little flute and a little side notch there. Since then I've been finding quite a few of those, and then for this video I got this guy here, which is pretty cool. Didn't realize what that one kind of is too. But I just found this one as well, see? Nice giant flute. It's kind of blocky looking, but I find quite a few like that. And I found this one as well, same shape with the serration on the front, kind of like a knife on the front there. Little divot there, like a huge divot in the back. Kind of big and goofy looking, but I do find a lot in that shape there. Not sure about this one, but I thought I'd mention that real quick. Let's start out talking about the coolest thing, which are axes, because I rarely find them, and when I do, you know, it's pretty awesome. Here's one of the best tomahawks I think I've ever found in my life, actually. Look at that awesome serration. It's just a nice thin piece, nice one. And then I recently found this awesome one right here. Check that bad boy out right there. You can see where it's been all worked up around the edges there. This has like a little like cylinder thing here. You could slide it into the back of a stick, and the front edge is off right here, and it's all sharpened on that side there. That's your awesome like tomahawk shape there. Also found this point in the same kind of chert there. I found some hand axes as well. I found one more axe that might be hafted on. Check out how clean this one is. It's all sharp right there. Real strong, hard piece of chert, real dense. But I don't think that would have been a hand axe because it's kind of sharp in the back, although it could have been. Bunch more types of hand axes like this one. It's cool, it's got sparkles there and it's got a little sharp front here. This one is more of a hand axe, I believe, because it just feels good in the palm there. Got a few more like that here and there. One at the end over here. Just like a little hand axe type of deal. And I believe this one might have been an actual axe here. And then this one I believe is a hand axe as well. It's got kind of a fat end here that you can comfortably hold on to, and it's got a little sharpened axe front bit there. But alright, let's just talk about this little table here real quick. Got a bunch of cool little flake knives. This is like your little old timer pocket knife. Got all that nice serration on there. Super sharp and small. Could have been hafted onto a stick there on the end. And I just found another one just like that too. But this one's cool because it's all like zigzagged. And look at that nice perfect serration there. I believe that's just a little flake knife there, but that's one of the nicest small ones. This is an interesting little scraper knife here. Could have been a point too. It looks like a San Patrice in a way, but it's just nice because look how sharp it is all the way around the edges there. It's got this little flute here and a little divot. Makes like a nice little multi-tool, but that could have been a point as well. Kind of similar to the San Patrice. Here's one of my favorite darts that I found for this whole video. I believe that's like a paleo triangular dart tip. See, it's got a little notch right there and a notch right there that's just barely cracked out. Can be wrapped around on there. But that's just a really nice one with serration on both sides of the front there. There's another nice little sharp one there. Here's an interesting one that looks like a little piece of artwork. Got pretty colors in it. Interesting scraper with a little crystal. I oftentimes find this red chert with a clear whitish crystal on them incorporated into the points, which is pretty neat. This little thing has some sparkles in it. I'll have to clean it up better, but it's kind of a triangular shape. Kind of just a fat rock, not really anything, I don't think. Found one of these shaped here, what they call it, the star, or just a crescent knife. But who knows, I think it's too fat to be a point, but just an interesting shape. Interesting little knife. Super sharp in that yellow chert there. It's got a little, feels like a little handle, like it's made to be held like that. So that's pretty cool. This one here looks like a little bone knife or something. Razor blade sharp all the way down. It's got some really good little grips on it. With that divot in there. Sharp on the top as well. Just a cool little knife. Interesting points. Very paleo looking. Lots of these triangles that are just like serrated on the fronts, almost like the tip of a knife, or it's broken off on the back, or you would think it would be, but it seems to be intentionally cut into it like that. And from what my research said is that the backs were supposed to be thick like that so they don't eat into the throwing dart. That one with the big divot there. Or it could have been just a little scraper knife. Bunch of little scraper knives and points. Actually found this one. Not sure if that's just a graver for engraving, but could have been a point hefted on right there too. Here's a pretty neat knife. Little flake knife type of deal. Real sharp. Could use it like this pretty comfortably. Just an interesting piece. It looks kind of like a dart tip. Which reminds me, let's talk about these Pandora tips real quick. I got so much stuff I can't even move around. I'm not going to cover everything here, but I found these two Pandora dart tips last time for the last video I did, and now I recently found another one. Look at this guy. This is actually the best one yet. See, it has a little divot right there, a little flute. Super sharp on both sides. And they say they don't know if these were dart tips or if they are knives. It could be used for either. But they always look to have a little blunt trauma to them. I found some other ones that are kind of like those. Really neat. And then it has like a little cut right here, so if you lay the stick over the top, you get hafted on right there. Just kind of weird. You don't see anything like that in the research, or I haven't seen anything like that in my research. But there's another one there. It's obviously sharpened on the whole edge of the fronts, and the back is flat. Very similar. Very weird, huh? But bunch more little skinny knives, bunch more little triangular points, nice and sharp. And these crazy looking triangular pieces, this one looks kind of like a drill, but I find so many in this crazy like big triangle shape reform that are all like worked up, sharp all the way around. But it's crazy. Here's a possible ebony spoke shave, or like a hafted scraper. You haft it on right there and have all that sharp edges there. Weird point, like weird thing. I have no idea what that is. Probably nothing, but isn't that just weird looking? It has like a divot. At this point, look at this, how it like looks when you spin it around. Crazy looking. Awesome pieces of chert, little scrapers and knives. Here's a cool one right here. Kind of that blue and brown chert, really neat. That divot bowl is awesome right there. I was gonna give that to my older brother for his wedding gift, or one of his wedding gifts, but I forgot to bring that one with me on the wedding a couple of days ago. This is an odd piece, huh? I'm thinking this could have been a weighted stone, like hafted on right here on top of that lateral throwing or dart launcher. Here's a little bone knife, all sharpened up. Just some big stones with the divots that I thought were cool. This one looks like another bird effigy. See the eye and the beak. It sits up. Find birds all the time out there. Here's a little hollowed out triangle. Here's a knife that could have been hafted on the back there, but it's sharp all the way around. Really neat one. All kinds of little triangular and ovoid looking points. Look at that nice looking one there, kind of fat. Pretty cool though. This one has like a giant divot. A lot of these have little divots that would be perfect for hafting on, say. This one looks like a little deer standing there, and the zigzag looking things. But this is, I believe, a, what's it called? Little wood tool, chisel. I find a lot of chisels like that work really well. Just odd preforms, like some weird shapes, see? Weird stuff. Giant drill. Looks like a spoon on this side. It's sharpened around the edges. Kind of weird, but it appears to be a big drill. Something that's just kind of square cut. It looks like a dice. Really cool scrapers here. Here's a really neat one. But this one right here might be the best one of the video. Best scraper. Very comfortable. It's got a little point on the back too. Perfect serration right there. Real nice and sharp. No point there. And here's a little bit smaller one. There's that nice brown one that I found. Sharp all the way around, a little knife. It's got a little point there. Really neat one. Ashley found this. I have no idea. It could be I was thinking like an atlatl weight balance stone. Weird scraper. Another weird one there. Nice and extremely razor sharp on the front and bottom there. I think this would have been a hafted on knife with that little divot there. Possibly, or that could have been for straightening out arrows too. Oh yeah, I actually found this point that looks kind of like a drill or something. A bunch of these big ones are just kind of like weird shapes that I wanted to check out. Some of them do have kind of like dart shapes though, even though this thing's so big. This one I believe is another good chisel right there. Nice blue and brown. Look how it's all worked up. It's got that one sharp chisel front there. What else? A bunch of little flake knives like that. Serration. Bunch of giant triangulars like this. This looks like a big spear. Possible a hand digger tool. Real artsy looking pieces like this one with straight edges. Just looks unnatural. Another San Patrice looking one there with the divot or the flute in the front there. Kind of rough looking. A lot of the points out there are just like a little spike with the bare minimum of sharpening. Bunch of longer ones. Atlatl. Lancelet type. This one looks like a little bird effigy. I didn't find a lot of art this time, but I usually find a bunch of birds out there. Looks kind of like one. Just a bunch of giant scrapers that are sharpened all the way around. Just awkward, weird ones like that. You'll notice a bunch of those triangle shapes like that. Not sure what this rock was with the little stripes like that. Might just be a bone or something, but this one's cool. It kind of has like a drill tip and it has the flute and divot right there. I know I'm gonna miss a lot in this video because there's just too much to cover. But pretty cool ovoid right there. This is an interesting looking flake, kind of like a Arrowhead 4-corner knife. That just looks like a big flake triangle. Nice little artifact, but it's actually like sharp on the edges. See, babe? She loves it. Now she's just wondering where the hell I'm gonna put all these rocks. I'm gonna take them right back, don't worry, babe. It's a cool preform. Could be a little tool like that. I find a lot like that. You can see this one was obviously worked up into that shape. Maybe a little hand cleaver. Nice brown and blue shirts over there. Some of these are like little weight stones, I feel like. Here's a really cool little knife, super sharp, real lightweight in that yellow shirt. Another nice knife there, look at that thing. Little flake knife. Razor sharp. Be funny if this was a dart tip, look how simple it is. Not sure what this is, like a little flint thing or something maybe, flintstone. Look at that little knife right there. It's a pretty one. Nice and sharp all the way around. Here's another fat chunky dart tip. It's cool how simple they are. That one has a little bit of a flute if you look closely. Sharp all the way around. It's got that flat bottom there. Some oddballs. Oh, it looks kind of like a bird. This is a neat one, a neat little knife or chisel, or possibly a weight too, like a atlatl weight. Kind of neat looking. Real artistic looking pieces out there, as usual. This looks like the eye of something, and it all sparkles. It's a little triangle. There's an interesting shape right here. It's got like little notches there. Sharpen on front edges there. Interesting little triangles. I could spend all day just filming these triangles because they're so neat. They're all different. This, out of the tiny points, this is one of my favorite ones right here. Look how neat that thing is. I can't tell if the front is right here or right here because it's sharpened around the whole edge. But just a neat looking piece right there, huh? Here's an oddball. Look at that thing. Same with this one. Oh yeah, and oh yeah, this one here looks like a hafted knife, see? That little shaft there, or stem, hafted into a stick. Pretty cool one. And if you've seen my previous videos, you know I always find these golf club looking points. I got 3 of them. in this past month alone. It's an odd shape. It's just like a golf club. Same with this one, but this one is sharpened on the front there, see? And here's another one. This one's sharpened on the top right here. Maybe for reaching up and cutting branches or something. But it's definitely some type of tool I find out there. Here's a giant broken drill. Bunch of little flake knives and random stuff. Interesting scraper that looks kind of like a bird. Sharp on the front there. Look at this nice triangle. Symmetrical on both sides. Here's another really nice triangular lateral dart. Found one just like that in the previous video. Possible fishing hooks right here. There's one. There's two. Really weird piece right here. I have no idea what this is. Maybe just a flake knife, but real odd looking. Oh, almost forgot to mention these giant shovel looking things. This is like the bone of an animal that got turned into some kind of like either haftable axe. You could haft it in the middle there, use that as an axe, or you could haft it on right here. See that little divot? Put the pole right there and use it as a shovel, or vice versa, like this, or maybe just a hand tool. And then check out this one. I believe this was some kind of shovel, or possibly a paddle for a canoe, kayak. But it's petrified bone now, so it's extremely heavy. But back then, if it was made out of bone, it would have been pretty lightweight. Perfect for a paddle or something. But yeah. Real weird, big preforms like this always out there that are really neat. I just like to check these out. Look for artwork in them and stuff like that. This one looks like a tombstone. I believe it was a little workbench with all these little chips in it and this big ball here. Not sure about this one, it just looks cool. Also, look how nice and flat this one is here. That might have been lateral weight too. Same with that one. Cool preforms. This looks like a jaw of a human, almost. And that one looks like a Brontosaurus Rex. Brontosaurus or Triceratops? I'll put a picture next to it. See what I'm talking about? Look at this giant heart. Oh yeah, these two right here, I believe these were hafted scrapers. Is that the little circle scraper on the end with the little stem here? Forgot to mention, this one looks like it has a horse painted on it. See? Nose and eye here. Mane, his body here. And it sits up flat like that. There's one of the coolest looking preforms. Or just big shapes. It appears to be worked into that shape there. Pretty neat. Little knife. Pointed side scraper. weird triangle. I'd like to go through every piece, but I don't want the video to be 10 hours long. Look at this weird bone piece. Maybe a little flintstone again. Be a triangular point though, actually. Oh yeah, I think that's the tip right there. See the serration on the sides there? That's a nice one. There's another one that kind of like looks like it goes into a drill tip. I believe Ashley found this one. Just a bunch of big triangulars. There's an odd one here. Sand Patrice looking. Nice little scraper there.